Welcome to this episode of The Patrick Coffin Show. I'm so happy to have back John Gravino, author of Confronting the Pope of Suspicion. We're going to talk about something extremely important, and that is, does or does not God punish faithless nations with scourges and plagues and war and pestilences? Is there any connection at all between the coronavirus pandemic and what happened at the Synod, the Amazonian Synod, or as I call it, the German-Zonian Synod this past fall? There's some dots to be connected, especially to be connected are all of the documents that came out in December. We're going to nickname it the December Massacre and connect dots you probably haven't thought about. This is a very important conversation. I can't wait to dive into it. And it's brought to you by Coffin Nation. Go to coffinnation.com and find out why the doors are and will be open. A lot of doors are closed today. Closed schools, closed our churches. The doors to Coffin Nation are open. So if you want to join members in 25 countries, go to coffinnation.com, find out about our exclusive content, our closed Facebook group, our forum, our weekly Ask Away Thursdays webinars, much else besides, coffinnation.com. Okay, to the topic. John Gravino is the author of growing passel of books, including The Pope of Suspicion. He's the chief grand poobah over at newwalden.org, and he just cranks out such high-quality stuff, and we want to do some dot connecting and some deep dives into what's going on in the church. John, welcome to the show. Good to see you again.
Thank you, Patrick. Thanks for having me on your show again.
There's an endless flow of fodder nowadays. Yeah. You and I were talking off air about the Twilight Zone-ish looking picture of the Pope making his way down an utterly abandoned street in Rome, with except for maybe one bicyclist and his own bodyguards, not a soul to be seen. Did you anticipate this a year ago? I sure didn't.
No, absolutely not. I mean, how long ago do you have to go to find a Pope that isn't completely surrounded by massive crowds? It's a very eerie looking picture to see the Pope just sort of ambling down the streets of Rome with nobody around him. But like we were saying, it's just it's the perfect picture to sort of summarize everything that's going on right now in the church and in the world. Yeah.
I'm going to put a link in from a website a good friend of mine sent me, saying that there are medical professionals in Italy saying that 99% of the people who have this COVID-19 died from other things. So remember Mark Twain's quote, there are lies, damn lies in statistics. There's a lot of misleading proportions and numbers that are used to terrorize people and keep them in a constant state of anxiety and fear. Let me start.
That graph.
What's that?
Yeah.
What's that?
The graph about that where the mortality of this coronavirus seems to be hitting is when people's immune systems are compromised by other illnesses or something like that. And Italy is really showing that pretty dramatically, I guess. I think it's the same circle graph that you probably saw.
And Dr. Jennifer Roback-Morris of the Ruth Institute, I'll put that link as well at patrickcoffin.media, makes a really good point about the declining age. The demographic of the population of Italy is skewing older and older and older because of abortion and contraception. So yeah, they're a ripe population for, I hate to put it this way, a kind of culling, where the old and infirm who are already vulnerable, they're dying faster because of this.
Yeah, and I saw somebody, and this wasn't a scientific study or anything, but somebody was pointing out, well, this coronavirus attacks the lungs, and you've got a large number of smokers in Italy, which probably, and I don't know anything if that's scientific or not, but does that make them more vulnerable to it? If their lungs are already in some compromised state from smoking. I don't know if anyone studied that or not, but.
If you were, once in a while, I have this, the conspiracy theory gene, it kind of starts expressing itself. I always have to keep it in check. Because I think it's human nature, John, to want to put causation to every effect. And sometimes you end up in absurd scenarios. But if I was an evil genius and I wanted to take over the world, I would probably by God's providence, find myself in the heart of messages like Fatima, where Russia will spread her errors around the world. Now, that Russia's not doing that, but China is spreading her errors around the world. And so you have this idea of I won't call it a bioweapon because that suggests intentionality, but a virus that is new, unforeseen, very contagious, gets spread around the world, and it seems to pass by the young. It passes over, so to speak, the young, but it kills off the old. Now, who are the old? The old are the people who remember a salient Christian civilization. They're the people who were alive and were young adults when the Dick Van Dyke Show was on. So if you can get them off the stage and create pliable young socialist types who are already cowed by fear because the authorities have told you have to be afraid of this. It's almost like a bad sci-fi novel. Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, yeah, I think it's, I think what you're getting at is whether, yes, if you're an evil genius, I suppose that would be a great plot, right? But even if it's not deliberate, what you're suggesting is this is a problem, because if we lose our older generation, we're losing all of the wisdom that they bring with them. And you're right, we are not ready for that.
Hey, this is Patrick Coffin. If you like what you see and hear and you want to see and hear more, consider joining Coffin Nation as a full member. Just click right here and find out more about what that means. Nipsey, my fedora. That's Coffin Nation, the world's largest online community of culture builders. Click right here. See you on the inside.